We all know the story of Mohandas Gandhi that was shown in the movie. He was on a train platform in Pietermaritzburg in 1893. He was thrown out because of the color of his skin, and he spent the rest of his life fighting racism. But it's not that simple. Gandhi had very complicated views on race. In an open letter to the Natal Legislative Assembly dated December 19, 1894, Gandhi wrote that the Indian is being dragged down to the position of a raw black. I've read Arundhati Roy's remarkable book on Gandhi and Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar and several scholarly papers. The links are in the description below. And today I want to tell you what Gandhi really thought about black people. I want to talk about his attitude to caste and also why Gandhi wanted to eat nuts, but only after they were fed to a goat. In 1894, Gandhi became secretary of the Natal Indian Congress, founded and funded by rich Indian merchants and traders. And he did fight, but he fought for the passenger Indians. So these included merchants and wealthier Indians in South Africa. He didn't care as much about the indentured Indian workers in South Africa. He wrote in 1894, whether they are Hindus or Mohammedans, they are absolutely without any moral or religious instruction worthy of the name. They have not learned enough to educate themselves without any outside help. They are apt to yield to the slightest temptation to tell a lie. In an interview with the Natal Advertiser, he addressed conditions for the indentured workers directly. He said, I have said most emphatically that the treatment of the indentured Indians is no worse or no better in Natal than they receive in other parts of the world. I have never endeavored to show that they have been receiving cruel treatment. Early on in his career in South Africa, Gandhi achieved a remarkable victory. In Durban, the post office had only two entrances, one for blacks and one for whites. Gandhi petitioned the authorities and he had a third entrance open so that the Indians did not need to use the same entrance as the blacks. Then in 1906, the Zulu chief Bambatha led his people in an uprising against the British government. The Zulus and the British were old enemies. In 1879, the Zulus had routed the British army when it attacked. They refused to work on the white man's farms, which is why bonded indentured labor had to be shipped from India in the first place. During the Bambatha rebellion, the rebels, armed only with spears and cowhide shields, fought British troops equipped with modern artillery. Gandhi did not protest this war. He volunteered the Indian community for it. In Indian Opinion on April 14, 1906, he wrote, what is our duty during these calamitous times in the colony? It is not for us to say whether the revolt of the Zulus is justified or not. We are natal by virtue of British power. Our very existence depends on it. It is therefore our duty to render whatever help we can. In September 1906, only months after the Bambatha Rebellion, the British government passed the Transvaal Asiatic Amendment Act. They prohibited Indian merchants from entering. They wanted to control Indian merchants from entering the Transvaal. Every male Indian had to register and produce on demand a thumb-printed certificate of identity. There was no right of appeal. Gandhi led the resistance. 2,000 people burned their passes in a public bonfire. Gandhi was arrested. Then he wrote, we were all prepared for hardships, but not for this. We could understand not being classified as whites, but to be placed at the same level of the natives seemed too much to put up with. Natives, as a rule, are uncivilized. The convicts even more so. They are troublesome, very dirty, and live almost like animals. A year later, in the 16th of the 20 years he would spend in South Africa, he wrote in Indian Opinion, I was given a bed in a cell where there were mostly native prisoners. I spent the night in a cell in great misery and fear. The reason I felt so uneasy was that a native and a Chinese person appeared to be wild, murderous, and given to immoral ways. From inside jail, Gandhi began to petition the white authorities for separate wards in prisons. He worried that a blanket that had been used by the dirtiest of natives might later fall into an Indian lap. He wanted prison meals separately for Indians, rice with ghee, and he refused to eat the mealy pap that the natives seemed to relish. He also agitated for separate latrines for Indian prisoners. Fast forward all the way to 1939 when Gandhi was in India and Jawaharlal Nehru argued that black Africans and Indians should stand together against the white regime in South Africa. Gandhi contradicted him. He wrote, How much ever one may sympathize with the Bantus, Indians cannot make common cause with them. Gandhi had problematic views on race in South Africa. Then, when he came back to India, he continued to have problematic views, but this time on caste. Gandhi is known as the man who helped the untouchables or the Dalits. He portrayed himself as a big defender of the caste system. He wrote, "Caste is another name for control. Caste puts a limit on enjoyment. Caste does not allow the person to transgress limits in pursuit of his enjoyment. That is the meaning of caste restrictions such as interdining and intermarriage. These being my views, I am opposed to all those who are out to destroy the caste system." The incident in Vykom in the south of India gives a great example of Gandhi's views on caste. In 1920s, there were many direct action movements by untouchables for the rights to use wells, schools, courts, offices, and public transport. There was a Satyagraha in Kerala. There, the Ezhavas, a community that was designed as the Shudra caste, and the Pulayas, who were untouchables, agitated to use the public roads that ran near the Mahadeva temple. Tensions arose. Gandhi's Lieutenant C. Rajagopalachari went to Vykom. On May 27, 1924, he reassured the upper caste Hindus. He said, "The Mahatma does not want the caste system abolished, but he holds that untouchability should be abolished. Mahatma does not want you to dance with the Thiyas or the Pulayas. What he wants is that we must be prepared to go and touch other human beings as you go near a cow or a horse. Mahatma Ji wants you to look upon untouchables as you do at the cow and the dog and other harmless creatures." Ultimately, Gandhi reached a compromise with the Brahmin priests of the temples, who would not allow him, a non-Brahmin, to enter the sanctum. The roads were realigned so they were no longer within polluting distance of the temple. This brings us to one of the greatest figures in Indian history and the man who wrote the Indian Constitution, Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar. He was Gandhi's most consistent opponent on caste. He was a Dalit lawyer. As a child, he was made to sit apart from his classmates so he would not pollute the classroom floor. He remained thirsty all day because he was not allowed to drink water from the touchable tap. He led the Mahad Satyagraha. About 3,000 untouchables marched to a public tank and drank water from it. They were beaten with clubs. 20 were injured. After the marchers left, the Brahmins purified the tanks with 108 pots of cow dung, cow urine, milk, curd, and ghee. That same month, Gandhi spoke at the All India Suppress conferences in Lahore. He urged untouchables to fight for their rights by sweet persuasion and not by satyagraha, which when used by Dalits became Durga, which was intended to give a rude shock to the deep-rooted prejudices of people. Writing in 1945, Ambedkar said, "The untouchables were not without the hope of getting the support of Gandhi. Indeed, they had very good ground for it. Mr. Gandhi, however, did not give his support to the Satyagraha. Not only did he not give his support, but he condemned it in strong terms." Ambedkar saw caste differently than Gandhi did. Gandhi saw the caste system as the division of labor. Ambedkar saw it as the division of laborers. In 1936, Gandhi wrote about what he called the ideal Bhangi, Bhangi being a word for a manual scavenger. He wrote, "The Brahmin's duty is to look after the sanitation of the soul, the untouchables that of the body of society." Gandhi never really got over his problematic views on caste. There was a protest by the Balmiki workers of Delhi. The scholar Vijay Prashad says that when Gandhi staged his visits to the colony, he refused to eat with the community. He said, "You can offer me goat's milk, but I will pay for it. And if you're keen that I should take food prepared by you, you can come here and cook my food for me." When a Dalit gave Gandhi nuts, he fed them to his goats, saying he would eat them later in the goat's milk. So the quotations that you've just heard come from Gandhi through all his letters. They were not written by his critics or his supporters or by anybody else. What you make of these letters is up for you to decide. But I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. At any rate, please consider subscribing for this channel because we are going to be covering unexpected aspects of history, mythology, and Buddhism, stuff that really deserves to be remembered.